Welcome, dear listener. Right now, as these words reach your ears, notice something simple and true. You are here. Your body is breathing. Your senses are awake. This moment is unfolding fresh and alive. Yet most of the time the mind pulls us away, into yesterday's regrets, tomorrow's worries, endless stories about who we are and what should be different. This audiobook is not about adding more ideas to your head. It is an invitation to stop, to feel, to return, again and again, to the only place life actually happens. Now. No need to be perfect. No need to force anything. Just gentle remembering. Let's begin together, right here, right now. Chapter 1. You are not your mind. This is a gentle, kind exploration of something very simple yet life-changing. Learning to live right here, in this moment. No fancy rules. No complicated steps. Just you. Becoming friends with the only time that really exists. Now. Let's start with something most of us never really notice. Right now, as these words come to your ears, where is your attention? Is it fully here, listening? Or has your mind already wandered off? To something you said earlier today, to a worry about tomorrow, to a memory from last week, or maybe even to what you'll eat later. That's completely normal. That's what minds do. They think. They remember. They plan. They imagine. They judge. They replay old conversations. They create future problems that haven't happened yet. It's their full-time job. But here is the soft, important truth I want to share with you right at the beginning. You are not your mind. You are the one who watches the mind. You are the quiet awareness behind all the thinking. Picture this. Your mind is like a busy street full of cars, bikes, people talking, horns beeping, thoughts zooming by every second. Some thoughts are loud and fast. Some are slow and heavy. Some are happy. Some are painful. But you? You're not the street. You're not even one of the cars. You are the sky above the street. Vast, open, silent, always there. The traffic comes and goes, but the sky remains untouched. Most of us have forgotten we are the sky. We've jumped down into the traffic. We believe we are the thoughts. So we say things like, I am anxious. I am not good enough. I am angry at what they did to me. When we say it that way, it feels true and solid, like that's who we really are. But those are just thoughts passing through. A more peaceful way to see it is, there is anxiety moving through me right now. A thought is saying I'm not good enough. Anger is here, visiting for a while. Can you feel how much lighter that second version is? It creates a little space. You're no longer trapped inside the thought. You're the one noticing it. When we believe we are our thoughts, life becomes heavy. Because thoughts are never satisfied. One thought leads to another, then another. They argue inside our head. They compare us to others. They drag us back into yesterday with regret. I should have done better. They push us forward into tomorrow with fear. What if things go wrong? But here's the gentle reminder. The past exists only as memories in your mind. The future exists only as imagination in your mind. Neither one is happening right now. The only place life is truly alive is this moment. Right here. Right now. Let's try something small together. Just for a few seconds. Feel your hands. Maybe open and close them gently. Notice the tiny tingling, the warmth, the aliveness in your fingers. That feeling is happening now. Take one slow breath. Feel the air cool as it comes in through your nose, and warm as it leaves. That breath is now. Listen. What sounds do you hear? Maybe birds outside, a car in the distance, the soft hum of the room, your own breathing. Those sounds are arriving fresh in this moment. This is the present. It's always here, waiting quietly while the mind runs off on adventures. The mind will keep trying to pull you away again, probably in the next 10 seconds. That's okay. That's what it knows how to do. Here's a very kind first step you can practice anytime. The moment you notice you're lost in thinking, just pause and quietly say, inside your heart or out loud, "Hello, mind. I see you thinking." No fighting. No forcing the thoughts to stop. Just a friendly acknowledgement, like nodding to a chatty neighbor. Then softly bring your attention back to something real in this moment. Your breath, the feeling of your body sitting or standing, the sounds around you, or simply the simple sense of being here. That little shift, noticing, is the beginning of freedom. You don't have to stay present perfectly all day. Even 1 or 2 seconds of coming back is a victory. Each time you return, you're training yourself to live where life actually is. Why does this matter? Because peace is never in the past. Peace is never in the future. Peace, joy, love, real aliveness, they are only ever available right now. And the beautiful secret is, underneath all the thinking, there is already peace. You don't have to create it. You don't have to earn it. You just have to stop covering it up with endless mental noise. So take another easy breath with me. In, out. Let your shoulders drop a little. Feel your feet on the ground. You are here. This moment is home. We'll go deeper together in the chapters ahead. How to handle strong emotions when they come. How old pain keeps calling us away from now. How being present can transform your relationships and your everyday life. But for right now, just know this. You don't have to wait until your mind is quiet or until everything in life is perfect. The power of now is already inside you. All you need to do is turn toward it, gently, again and again. Chapter 2, The Illusion of Time. It's so nice to sit with you once more in this quiet space. Last time we gently reminded ourselves that we are not our mind. We are the awareness that watches the mind. Today we are going to look a little closer at one of the biggest tricks the mind plays on us, the story of time. Most of us live as if time is a long straight road. We stand somewhere in the middle. Behind us is the past, full of things we did, things we didn't do, people who hurt us, moments we miss. In front of us is the future, full of things we hope for, things we fear, things we need to prepare for, things we must fix before they happen. And right where we stand? That tiny point called now feels so small it almost disappears. We rush right over it to get to the next thing. But here is the gentle truth that can feel strange at first, yet so freeing once it lands in your heart. Psychological time, the past and future we carry in our head, is mostly an illusion. The only time that is real is this one. The past is not back there anymore. It only exists as thoughts, memories, and feelings that appear in your mind right now. The future is not up ahead waiting for you. It only exists as thoughts, pictures, and worries that appear in your mind right now. Everything that actually happens, every sound you hear, every breath you take, every feeling in your body, every ray of sunlight touching your skin, is happening now. Always now. Think about it like this. When you remember a happy childhood moment, that warm feeling in your chest isn't happening 10 years ago. It's happening right now. When you feel anxious about a meeting tomorrow, that knot in your stomach isn't happening tomorrow. It's happening right now. When you feel regret about something you said last week, the heaviness in your heart isn't happening last week. It's happening right now. So the mind is constantly pulling us into two places that don't actually exist, except as thoughts in this moment. Why does the mind do this? Because it believes its job is to keep you safe. It thinks, if I keep replaying what went wrong before, maybe I can avoid it next time. It thinks, if I worry enough about tomorrow, maybe I can control it. It's trying to help, but it ends up stealing the only place where life and peace actually live. Now, here's a small, everyday example most of us know very well. You're having a cup of tea. The tea is warm in your hands. Steam is rising. The smell is soft and comforting. But instead of being with the tea, your mind is already somewhere else. I should have told my friend how I really felt yesterday. What if I mess up at work tomorrow? I'm getting older. What if I never feel truly happy? The tea is right here, perfect in this moment. But you're not tasting it. You're tasting yesterday's words and tomorrow's fears. The good news? You can come back. anytime. Right now. Let's try something simple together again. Wherever you are, sitting, walking, lying down, pause for just 10 seconds. Notice one thing that is happening in this exact moment. Maybe the feeling of your clothes against your skin. Maybe the rise and fall of your chest as you breathe. Maybe the faint sound of wind, or traffic, or silence. Maybe just the simple fact that you are here, alive, aware. Don't try to make it special. Don't judge it. Just notice it. That noticing is you stepping out of psychological time and stepping into real time. It's you coming home. Of course the mind will pull you away again, very quickly. That's not failure. That's just what minds do. Each time you notice you've drifted and you gently return, you are weakening time's grip. You are teaching yourself, I don't have to live in yesterday or tomorrow. I can choose now. And here's something very kind to remember. You don't need to erase the past or stop planning for the future. Memories can be beautiful. Planning can be useful. The problem only begins when the past and future become more real to you than this moment. When they fill your inner space so completely that now feels empty or unimportant. The invitation is simple. Let the past and future visit when they need to, but don't let them move in and take over your house. Keep the door open to now. Let now be the place where you live most of the time. When you start living more and more in the present, something quiet and wonderful begins to happen. Problems that felt huge when you were lost in thinking suddenly look smaller. Because most of our suffering comes not from what is happening right now, but from the stories we tell ourselves about what happened before and what might happen later. In this moment, without the heavy suitcases of past and future, there is often much more space. Space for peace. Space for joy. Space just to be. So take one more slow breath with me, friend. Feel the air enter. Feel it leave. That breath has never happened before. It will never happen again. It is completely new. It is now. You are here. This is enough. We'll keep walking this path together. Next we'll look at what happens when strong feelings, anger, fear, sadness, try to drag us out of the present, and how we can meet them with kindness instead of running away or fighting. Chapter 3. The Pain Body, Old Pain That Lives in You. So far we've seen that we are not our mind, and that the past and future mostly live as thoughts in the present moment. Today we are going to look at something a little deeper, something that can feel heavy, but understanding it brings such relief. Have you ever noticed how sometimes a small thing happens, a careless word from someone, a memory that flashes by, a disappointment, and suddenly a huge wave of emotion rises inside you? Much bigger than the situation seems to deserve? Maybe you feel intense anger, deep sadness, or a sharp feeling of being rejected, and you think, why am I reacting this way? This isn't even that big a deal. That's often the pain body waking up. What is the pain body? It's an old bundle of emotional pain that almost everyone carries inside. It's made of all the hurts, wounds, angers, fears, and sorrows we've experienced in the past, especially the ones we didn't fully feel or let go of at the time. Over the years, this pain collects like dust in a corner of your inner house. It becomes a kind of energy field, almost like a living thing inside you. It wants to survive. And to survive, it needs more pain to feed on. So the pain body looks for opportunities to get upset. It loves drama. It loves conflict. It loves to feel offended, wronged, or victimized. When it's active, it makes you identify with the pain. This is who I am. Hurt, angry, unloved. And as long as you believe that, the pain body stays strong. Here are a few everyday signs the pain body might be active. You suddenly feel very irritated by something small, like a tone of voice or a forgotten promise. Old memories come rushing back with the same intensity as when they first happened. You find yourself replaying arguments in your head, getting more upset each time. You feel a heavy, dark mood that seems to come from nowhere and won't leave. The key thing to understand is this. The pain body is not you. It is energy that passes through you. It is old pain visiting again. But you are the space in which it appears. Most people feed the pain body in two main ways. By identifying with it, I am angry, I am a victim, this always happens to me. When you say I am to the emotion, you give it your identity and it grows stronger. By resisting it or trying to push it away, I shouldn't feel this way. I have to stop feeling like this. Fighting it makes it fight back harder. So what can we do instead? The most powerful thing is also the simplest. Bring the light of your attention to it. When you feel the pain body rising, when that familiar heaviness, heat, tightness, or churning starts, pause. Don't run into stories about why it's there or who caused it. Just notice it. Feel it as an energy field inside your body. Where do you feel it most? In your chest? Your stomach? Your throat? Your head? Is it hot, cold, sharp, heavy, tight? Just watch it. Feel it fully, without adding mental stories. This is the opposite of what the pain body wants. It wants drama. It wants you to think about it, talk about it, blame someone, or escape it with distractions. But when you simply stay present with the raw feeling, without fighting or feeding it with thoughts, the pain body loses its fuel. It can't survive long in the clear light of your attention. You might say inside yourself, very gently, like speaking to a frightened child, I see you, old pain. You're here again. It's okay. I'm just going to feel you. I'm not going to run from you or become you. Stay with the sensation as long as it's there. Breathe into it. Let it be. Often, after a minute or two, or sometimes longer, it starts to dissolve. The energy moves, softens, and leaves. Sometimes it comes back later, but each time you meet it like this, it gets a little weaker. This is not about fixing yourself. You don't have to analyze every hurt from childhood or forgive everyone right now. You just have to stop feeding the old pain with fresh attention in the form of thinking and resistance. And here is the beautiful part. Underneath the pain body is your true nature. Pure awareness, peace, aliveness. When the pain body isn't being fed, that peace shines through more and more. You start to feel lighter. Moments of joy appear for no reason. You become kinder to yourself and to others, because you're no longer looking through the filter of old pain. So the next time you feel that familiar emotional storm beginning, try this. Stop, take one conscious breath. Feel the energy in your body without labeling it bad. Say quietly to yourself, this too is here, and I'm here with it. Stay present until it begins to change. You don't have to do it perfectly. Even a few seconds of conscious presence weakens the pain body. You are not broken. You are not your past pain. You are the awareness that can hold it, see it, and let it pass. Take a slow breath with me right now. Feel your body resting wherever it is. Notice if any old pain is quietly sitting there. No judgment. Just noticing. You are already doing the most important thing. Being here, now, with kindness toward whatever shows up. We'll continue together. Next we'll explore how being present can change your relationships. How listening without the mind's filter can bring real connection. For this moment, just know, the pain body is not your enemy. It's an old visitor that doesn't know where else to go. When you welcome it with presence instead of resistance, it eventually finds its way out. Chapter 3. The Pain Body, Old Pain That Lives in You. The pain body is an accumulation of old emotional pain that almost everyone carries inside. It forms from hurts, wounds, fears, angers, and sorrows that were not fully felt or released at the time they happened. Over years, this pain collects and becomes a semi-autonomous energy field within you. It has a kind of life of its own and seeks to survive by feeding on more pain. This is why the pain body often awakens at the smallest trigger. A sharp word, a memory, a look, a situation that echoes an old wound, and suddenly a strong reaction floods in, far out of proportion to what is actually happening now. When the pain body is active, it takes over your thinking and feeling. You start to see the present moment through its lens. Everything becomes proof that life is unfair, that people cannot be trusted, that you are not loved or safe. The mind spins stories to justify the pain, and those stories keep the pain alive longer. Common signs that the pain body has been activated include sudden intense irritation or anger over something minor. A heavy, sinking feeling that appears without clear reason. Old hurts resurfacing with the same emotional charge as when they first occurred. The urge to argue, blame, withdraw, or attack, even when part of you knows it is unnecessary. A dark mood that lingers and resists any attempt to cheer up. The pain body thrives on identification and resistance. Identification means believing this pain is me. When you say I am angry, I am hurt, or I am broken, you merge with the emotion and give it your sense of self. It becomes stronger because it borrows your identity. Resistance means fighting the feeling, trying to suppress it, escape it through distraction, judge it as wrong, or analyze it endlessly to make it go away. Fighting creates inner tension, and that tension becomes fresh fuel for the pain body. The way out is neither fighting nor feeding it. The way out is conscious presence. When the familiar wave of old pain begins to rise, pause. Bring attention into the body. Feel where the sensation lives, perhaps a tightness in the chest, heat in the face, a knot in the stomach, pressure in the head. Locate it exactly. Observe the raw energy without adding mental commentary. Do not call it bad or unfair. Do not tell yourself a story about why it is here or who is to blame. Simply feel the sensation as it is. Alive, moving, vibrating, heavy, sharp, dull. Breathe into the area. Let the breath touch it without trying to change it. Stay with the feeling as the watcher, not as the one who is suffering, but as the spacious awareness in which the suffering appears. You can say silently, "This is old pain coming up. I see it. I allow it to be here." No need to fix it, understand it completely, or make it disappear quickly. The act of staying present with it, without resistance or drama, starves it of the energy it needs. Most pain bodies begin to dissolve or weaken within minutes, when met this way consistently. Each time you meet the pain body like this, its hold becomes looser. It returns less often and with less intensity. Eventually, large parts of it dissolve permanently because they no longer receive fresh emotional charge. Underneath the pain body is the unconditioned aliveness that is your true nature. Quiet, peaceful, spacious. When the pain body is no longer being fed, that peace becomes more accessible. Joy arises spontaneously. Compassion grows naturally toward yourself and others because less of your perception is filtered through old wounds. This practice does not require perfect conditions. It can be done anywhere, anytime the pain body activates, in the middle of an argument, during a quiet evening, while walking, while lying in bed. The moment you notice the old pain taking over, that noticing is already the beginning of freedom. Remember, the pain body is not your enemy. It is simply leftover energy that has not yet been met with presence. When you stop running from it or feeding it with thought, it has no choice but to transform or leave. Breathe slowly now. Feel your body as it is in this moment. Notice any subtle tension or emotion that may be present. Meet it with the same gentle attention you would give to a child waking from a bad dream. You are the space that holds it all. You are already larger than any pain that passes through. The next chapter will explore how presence changes relationships, how true listening and seeing others without the filter of past pain opens the door to real connection. Chapter 4: Presence in Relationships. Relationships are one of the clearest mirrors we have. They show us, often more sharply than anything else, where we are living, from the mind's past and future stories or from the simple reality of this moment. When two people meet, something alive happens. There is seeing, hearing, feeling, touching. There is the possibility of real connection. Yet very often, what actually happens is that two minds meet, each carrying its own bundle of memories, judgments, expectations, hurts, and future hopes. The present moment becomes crowded with all of this mental content, and true meeting is missed. Presence changes everything in relationships because it removes the main barrier, the filter of the mind. When you are present with another person, you are not relating to them through a screen of past images. This is what they always do, they never listen, they hurt me before. You are not relating to them through future projections. If they say this, I'll feel rejected. I need them to understand me so I can feel safe. Instead, you meet them as they are right now, fresh, alive, unpredictable. This does not mean ignoring history or never planning together. It means the past and future do not dominate the space between you. The space between you becomes spacious, open, alive. Let's look at what presence looks like in everyday interactions. First, listening. Most listening is not really listening. It is waiting for a gap so the mind can jump in with its own opinion, defense, advice, or story. While the other person speaks, the mind is already preparing a response, judging what is being said, comparing it to past experiences, or drifting away entirely. Presence in listening is different. It is giving your full attention to the words, the tone, the silences, the energy behind the words, without immediately interpreting or reacting from your own conditioning. You listen as if this is the first time you are hearing this person speak. Because, in truth, this exact moment has never existed before. When someone feels truly heard, not analyzed, fixed, or interrupted, their whole being relaxes. Something softens. Trust grows naturally. They may even say things they have never said before, because the space feels safe. You do not need to agree with everything. You do not need to solve their problem. Simply being fully present while they speak is one of the greatest gifts you can give. The same applies to speaking. When you speak from presence, your words come from this moment rather than from old patterns of defense, attack, pleasing, or manipulation. There is no need to prove anything, win anything, or protect an image of yourself. The words are simpler, clearer, more honest. They carry the energy of now instead of the weight of yesterday. Another place where presence transforms relationships is in conflict. Conflict usually escalates when both people are identified with their pain body or their mental position. Each defends their side. Each sees the other as the cause of pain. Each adds more story and emotion to the fire. Presence interrupts this cycle. When anger or hurt rises in you during an argument, pause, even for 2 or 3 seconds. Feel the energy in your body, the heat, the tightness, the racing heart. Stay with that sensation instead of immediately throwing it outward as blame or accusation. That pause creates space. In that space, you can choose, react from the old pattern, or respond from presence. Often, when one person stops feeding the conflict with fresh reactivity, the whole energy field changes. The other person may still be triggered, but the absence of mutual escalation allows something new to emerge. Sometimes silence. Sometimes a softer word. Sometimes the realization that the real pain is not about what just happened, but about something much older that got touched. Presence does not mean becoming passive or suppressing your feelings. It means feeling them fully in the body, without letting the mind turn them into a story that justifies attack or withdrawal. You can still express what you feel, clearly, directly, without attack. I feel hurt when this happens is very different from you always hurt me because you are selfish. The first comes from presence. The second comes from identification with pain. Presence also reveals love in its simplest form. Love, in its essence, is not a big emotion or a promise for the future. It is the recognition of the other person's being beneath all the layers of personality, history, and conditioning. When you are present, you see the aliveness in them, the same aliveness that is in you. That seeing is love. You do not need special words or grand gestures. Looking into someone's eyes without agenda, feeling their presence without needing to change them, allowing silence without discomfort. These are expressions of love that go deeper than anything the mind can manufacture. Even in difficult relationships, family tensions, partnerships that feel stuck, friendships that have cooled, presence offers a way forward. You cannot force the other person to be present. But your own presence creates a field that invites it. When one person stops playing the old game, the game loses its power. Sometimes the relationship transforms. Sometimes it naturally ends, but without the bitterness that comes from years of accumulated resentment. Either way, freedom grows. A practical way to bring more presence into relationships is through small, intentional pauses. Before responding to a message or a comment, take one conscious breath. Before entering a room where someone is waiting, feel your feet on the floor for a moment. During a conversation, when you notice your mind drifting or preparing a clever reply, gently return to the sound of their voice or the feeling of your own breath. These tiny returns accumulate. They train the habit of presence. Over time, being with others becomes less about mental effort and more about simple being. Children are often natural teachers here. When a young child is with you fully, playing, talking, crying, they are completely in the now. They do not carry yesterday's hurts into this moment unless an adult teaches them to. When you meet a child with presence, without distraction or agenda, something wordless passes between you. That is the field of real connection. The same is possible with adults. Even when layers of conditioning seem thick, presence cuts through those layers, not by force, but by its own quiet power. In the end, the deepest gift presence brings to relationships is freedom. Freedom from the need to be right, to be understood, to be special, to be fixed, to be anything other than what is here now. When two people meet in that freedom, even for short moments, something sacred reveals itself. Breathe now. Feel the air moving in and out. Wherever you are, whoever may be near you or far from you, notice that this moment is shared. The same now holds you both, even if miles apart. That shared now is the true ground of every relationship. Chapter 5. The Power of Now in Everyday Life. Everyday life is where the real transformation happens. Not in special meditation retreats or perfect quiet moments, but in the ordinary. Washing dishes, waiting in line, driving to work, answering emails, eating lunch, folding laundry, talking on the phone. These are the places where presence can turn the mundane into something alive and sacred. The mind tells us that ordinary moments are boring or unimportant. It says, "This is just routine. Hurry through it so you can get to the good parts." But when you bring attention to the now, there are no good parts and boring parts. There is only this moment, and every moment contains the same potential for peace, aliveness, and depth. Let's look at how presence can enter these simple, daily activities. Start with something as basic as breathing. You breathe all day without noticing. Yet the breath is always here, always now. Whenever you remember, feel one full breath. The cool air entering the nostrils, the gentle expansion of the chest or belly, the warm air leaving. No need to breathe differently, just feel what is already happening. That single conscious breath pulls you out of mental stories and back into the body, back into now. Next, the body itself. Most of the time the body is in the background while the mind races ahead or lingers behind. Try this. At any moment, bring attention to your hands. Feel the subtle aliveness in the fingers, the palms, the wrists. Maybe wiggle them slightly. Notice the temperature, the weight, the tiny movements. Your hands are always present. They never live in the past or future. When you feel them, you feel now. You can do the same with your feet on the floor, your back against the chair, your face in the air. These small anchor points are always available. Now consider routine tasks. Washing dishes. Instead of rushing through to finish, or letting the mind complain, "I hate this chore," feel the warm water on your skin, the slipperiness of soap, the weight of a plate in your hand, the sound of water running. Each movement becomes a meditation when done with attention. The task is no longer something to endure. It becomes an expression of being here fully. Walking. Whether it's crossing a room or walking down the street, feel your feet touching the ground. Heel, ball of foot, toes. The slight shift of weight. The rhythm of your legs. The air moving against your face. Walking becomes a way of arriving in this step, in this place, in this moment, rather than a means to get somewhere else. Eating. Most meals are eaten while the mind is elsewhere. Reading, scrolling, planning, worrying. Try eating one bite slowly. Notice the color, the smell, the texture before it touches your lips. Feel the flavors unfold on your tongue. Chew slowly. Let the body do what it knows how to do without mental interference. Even a simple piece of fruit can become a small miracle when met with full attention. Work and daily responsibilities. The mind often resists the present task by projecting into the future. I'll be happy when this is finished, or judging it, this is pointless. Presence shifts the focus. What is needed right now? What is the next small action? When you give full attention to the task at hand, typing an email, organizing a shelf, listening to a colleague, the quality of the work improves naturally. Stress decreases because you stop fighting what is and start moving with it. Waiting. Lines, traffic, doctor's offices. These are moments the mind hates most. It rebels, gets impatient, creates frustration. Yet waiting is one of the purest opportunities for presence. Instead of resisting the wait, accept it fully. Feel your body sitting or standing. Listen to the sounds around you. Watch your breath. Notice thoughts of impatience arising, and let them pass without following them. Waiting stops being wasted time. It becomes quiet training in surrender to what is. Solitude and silence. In a world full of noise and stimulation, moments alone can feel uncomfortable. The mind rushes in to fill the emptiness with worry, planning, or distraction. Presence turns solitude into companionship with yourself. Sit quietly for a few minutes. Feel the space around your thoughts. Listen to silence underneath any sounds. You don't need to stop thinking, just don't feed the thoughts with attention. Let them come and go like clouds. The silence that remains is not empty, it is full of presence. Nature is a powerful ally here. A tree, a bird, a cloud, rain on the window. When you look without labeling or analyzing, something opens. You see not just a tree, but the miracle of form, color, movement, life expressing itself right now. Spend a minute simply looking. No need to take a photo or name what you see. Just let seeing happen. Even technology, phones, screens, notifications, can be met with presence. Before checking a message, pause. Feel your hand holding the device. Notice the impulse to check. Is it coming from restlessness, boredom, fear of missing out? When you use the device, do so consciously, one task at a time, with attention. When you put it down fully. Presence prevents technology from pulling you out of your life. The key in all these moments is disidentification from the stream of thinking. Thoughts will still arise. Plans, judgments, memories, complaints. That is normal. The practice is to notice them without believing you are them. See a thought, feel the emotion it brings, then return to the body, the breath, the senses, the simple fact of being here. Each return strengthens the muscle of presence. Over weeks and months, what once felt effortful becomes natural. Ordinary moments stop feeling ordinary. They reveal themselves as expressions of life itself, vibrant, temporary, complete. There is no need to wait for a better moment to start living fully. This moment, whatever it contains, is the entry point. A red light, a cup of tea cooling, a child's question, a tired body lying down. All of them are now. All of them are doorways. Breathe once more, slowly. Feel the rise and fall. Notice the sounds in the room, the light touching your eyes, the aliveness in your hands. This is it. Not tomorrow. Not when things improve. Chapter 6. Joy, Creativity, and the Sense of Oneness. When the mind grows quieter and the attention rests more steadily in the present moment, something begins to emerge that the thinking mind cannot create or explain. It is not an emotion that comes and goes. It is a subtle, underlying quality of being, sometimes felt as quiet joy, sometimes as effortless creativity, sometimes as a wordless sense of oneness with everything around you. These experiences are not rewards you earn after long practice. They are what is already here when the usual layers of mental noise, resistance, and identification thin out. The power of now naturally uncovers them. Let's begin with joy. Joy is different from pleasure or happiness as the mind usually understands them. Pleasure depends on something external, a taste, a touch, a compliment, a success. Happiness often depends on conditions improving or problems disappearing. Both are fragile because they rely on change. Joy, the kind that arises in presence, needs no reason. It is not about anything. It is the aliveness of being itself, felt directly when there is no mental commentary standing between you and what is. You might notice it first in small moments, the sudden lightness when you stop rushing and simply stand under a tree, feeling the breeze move through leaves. The quiet delight of watching raindrops trace patterns on a window. The soft warmth that spreads in your chest during an ordinary walk, for no particular reason. This joy is not loud or dramatic. It is gentle, spacious, almost background-like at first. Yet once felt, you recognize it as more real than the temporary highs the mind chases. The doorway to this joy is acceptance of the present moment exactly as it is, not as good or bad, but as it is. When there is no inner arguing with what already exists, the energy that was bound up in resistance becomes available as aliveness and subtle joy. Next comes creativity. True creativity flows when the mind is not interfering. The thinking mind loves to plan, judge, compare, and worry about outcomes. It says, "Is this good enough? Will people like it? What if I fail?" These thoughts block the natural movement of creation. When you are present, the mind steps back. There is no separate me trying to create something impressive. There is only the doing, words appearing on the page, colors mixing on canvas, notes finding their place in a melody, ideas connecting in ways you did not force. People often describe this state as, "It felt like it came through me," or "I don't know where that idea came from." That is presence at work. The source of real creativity is not the personal mind. It is the deeper intelligence that moves through everything when the personal mind is transparent. You do not need to be an artist to experience this. Cooking a meal with full attention can be deeply creative. The way ingredients combine, the rhythm of chopping, the intuition about seasoning. Solving a practical problem at work, writing an email, arranging a room, even folding clothes. Any activity done with complete presence becomes creative because you are meeting the moment freshly instead of repeating old patterns. The practice is simple. Give whatever you are doing your undivided attention. Let go of the need for a perfect result. Allow mistakes. Allow not knowing. When the mind tries to take over with criticism or impatience, gently return to the sensations of the task, the feel of the tool in your hand, the sound of movement, the unfolding of the next step. In that return, creativity flows naturally. Then there is the sense of oneness. This is perhaps the most profound shift that presence reveals. At first it may come as fleeting glimpses, a moment when the boundary between me and not me softens. You look at a flower, a stranger's face, the sky, and there is no separation. It is not a thought. It is a felt recognition that the aliveness looking out through your eyes is the same aliveness shining in everything else. The mind cannot hold this experience for long. It immediately wants to turn it into a concept, a belief, something to remember or achieve again. But the real oneness is not a memory. It is what remains when thinking falls silent and presence is complete. You may feel it during a deep shared silence with another person. Watching waves crash and dissolve on a shore. The sudden stillness after a storm passes. A quiet moment alone where the room, the body, the sounds all feel like expressions of one single presence. This sense of oneness is not something mystical reserved for special people. It is the natural state when identification with the separate me weakens. The separate self is created by thought, by memories, labels, stories, fears, desires. When attention rests in now instead of in those stories, the illusion of separation loses its grip. There is no need to chase these experiences. Chasing turns them into future goals, which pulls you out of the present. Instead, continue the simple practice. Notice when the mind drifts, feel the body, return to the breath or the senses, accept what is here. Each return clears a little more space. The joy becomes steadier. Creativity flows more often. Glimpses of oneness lengthen and deepen. These are not the goals of living in the now. They are the fragrance that naturally arises when you stop covering the present with mental noise. One gentle reminder: these states are not permanent, and they do not need to be. Joy comes and recedes. Creative flow gives way to ordinary effort. Oneness opens, and then the sense of separation returns for a while. That is fine. The invitation is not to cling to peak experiences, but to rest more and more as the unchanging awareness that holds all of them. You are not chasing joy, creativity, or oneness. You are allowing the obscurations to fall away so what is always here can be felt more clearly. Pause now. Feel your breath moving. Notice the space around each breath. Notice the aliveness in your hands, the light in the room, the sounds near and far. There is no separation between the observer and what is observed. There is only this, one field of presence, appearing as breath, as body, as world. The next chapter will explore surrender, not as giving up, but as the deepest form of acceptance that allows life to move through you without resistance. Chapter 7. The Art of Surrender. Surrender is one of the most misunderstood words in the language of presence. To the mind, surrender sounds like defeat, giving up, weakness, or letting life run over you. But true surrender is none of these things. It is the deepest form of strength, the willingness to stop fighting what already is. When you live identified with the mind, life feels like a constant battle. The mind wants things to be different. Warmer weather, more money, better health, kinder people, fewer problems. It argues with reality at every turn. This shouldn't be happening. I can't accept this. Why me? Each argument creates inner tension, and that tension becomes suffering. Surrender ends the inner war. It does not mean passive resignation or never taking action. It means accepting this moment completely, exactly as it appears, while still allowing intelligent response to arise naturally from that acceptance. Imagine you are caught in a strong river current. If you fight the water, thrashing and struggling against it, you exhaust yourself and may drown. If you surrender to the current, relax your body, float, let it carry you, you conserve energy and can eventually guide yourself toward the shore when the opportunity appears. Life is like that river. Resisting what is happening right now wastes enormous inner energy. Surrendering to the present does not mean you stop moving or caring. It means you stop the unnecessary fighting inside. From that non-resistant space, right action often emerges more clearly and effectively than from struggle. There are two main layers where surrender is practiced. First, surrender to what is. This is the foundation. Whatever the outer situation, pain in the body, a difficult conversation, financial pressure, loss, uncertainty, bring attention to it without adding mental commentary. Feel it as energy in the body, tightness, heat, heaviness, vibration. Do not label it terrible or unfair. Do not tell a story about how long it will last or what it means about you. Simply allow it to be here, fully felt. This acceptance is surrender. It is saying yes to the form this moment takes, even when the form is uncomfortable. Paradoxically, when you stop resisting internally, the situation often begins to change more quickly, or your relationship to it softens so much that the outer change matters less. Second, surrender to life's movement. Life is always moving. People come and go. Circumstances shift. Emotions rise and fall. Plans dissolve. The mind wants to control the direction and timing. It clings to outcomes, to people, to identities. Surrender releases the need to control what cannot be controlled. It trusts that intelligence greater than the personal mind is at work, even when the mind cannot see the bigger picture. This does not mean you become inactive. You still act, make choices, set intentions, take steps, but without the desperate energy of this must turn out exactly as I want. You plant the seed, water it, give it sun. But you do not stand over it yelling, "Grow faster," or "Be a rose, not a daisy." You allow the outcome to unfold. Surrender in action looks like this. You prepare for an important meeting with care, but you do not spend hours imagining worst-case scenarios. You express your truth in a relationship honestly, but you do not demand the other person respond in a specific way. You care for your health diligently, but you do not torment yourself with what ifs about the future. In each case, you do what is possible and wise in this moment, then release attachment to how it must turn out. That release is surrender. It frees enormous energy that was previously locked in worry, fear, and control. One of the most powerful places to practice surrender is with strong emotions. When intense fear, anger, sadness, or grief arises, the mind wants to either suppress it or act it out. Surrender means neither. It means feeling the emotion completely in the body, without running away into distraction and without feeding it with stories of blame or victimhood. Feel the raw sensation, the clenched chest, the burning throat, the churning stomach. Breathe into it. Allow waves of it to move through without resistance. Say inwardly, "Yes, this is here now. I allow it." Very often, when met with full unconditional yes, the emotion peaks, then naturally subsides. It does not need to become a permanent state or a life story. Surrender lets it pass through like weather. Surrender also applies to the ego itself, the sense of separate me that constantly seeks to defend, improve, or prove itself. The ego resists surrender most of all because surrender means the end of its illusion of control. Yet when you surrender even the need to be someone special, something vast opens. Peace that does not depend on conditions, joy that is not earned, love that flows without object. You do not have to surrender everything at once. Start small. The next time you notice inner resistance, to traffic, to a delay, to a person's words, to a feeling in your body, pause. Feel the resistance as tension somewhere in the body. Then consciously say yes to it. Relax the shoulders, soften the belly, breathe. Let the situation be as it is for this moment. Each small surrender weakens the habit of fighting reality. Over time, life stops feeling like an enemy to be conquered and starts feeling like a dance to be moved with. Surrender is not the end of desire or action. It is the end of fear-driven grasping and pushing against what is. From surrender, desires become clearer, actions become lighter, creativity flows more freely, and relationships deepen because there is no longer a battle for control underneath them. Pause now. Notice if there is any subtle tension in your body right now, perhaps a holding in the jaw, a tightness in the chest, a restless energy in the legs. Do not try to make it go away. Simply allow it. Breathe with it. Say inwardly, "Yes, this too is allowed." Feel how the simple act of allowing creates space. That space is surrender. That space is peace. The next chapter will bring us toward the final movement, living as presence itself, not as a practice you do sometimes, but as the natural way of being when the mind no longer dominates. Chapter 8. Living as Presence. You have walked a long way through these pages. We began by seeing that you are not your mind. We looked at the illusion of time, the pain body's grip, the transformation of relationships, the presence in ordinary moments, the arising of joy and oneness, and the quiet power of surrender. All of these point to the same place, not a destination you reach someday, but the reality that is already here. Now the invitation is to let presence become the way you live, not something you practice only in quiet times or when things feel difficult, but the natural ground of your being in every moment. Living as presence means the center of gravity shifts. Instead of living from the thinking mind, with its endless commentary, its need to label, judge, compare, plan, regret, fear, you live from the spacious awareness that watches all of that without being caught in it. This does not mean the mind stops thinking. Thoughts still arise. Plans still form. Memories still appear. Emotions still move through. The difference is that none of them define you anymore. They are visitors passing through the house of awareness. You are the house, silent, open, unchanging. In practical terms, living as presence looks like this. You wake in the morning. Before the mind fills with the day's to-do list or yesterday's unfinished business, there is a brief, clear moment of just being. You feel the warmth under the covers, hear the first sounds of the world, sense the aliveness in your body. You rest in that for a few seconds. That rest is presence arriving before thought takes over. Throughout the day, whenever you notice you have been lost in mental stories, worrying about money, replaying a conversation, imagining future problems, you do not fight the noticing. The noticing itself is the return. You feel your feet on the floor, your breath moving, your hands resting somewhere. You come back to the simple fact of being here. No drama. No self-criticism. Just return. When strong feelings arise, joy, irritation, sadness, excitement, you meet them the same way. Feel them in the body. Allow them without turning them into a personal story. The feeling comes, stays as long as it needs, then leaves. You remain as the space that holds it all. In conversations, you listen from presence. You speak from presence. There is no urgent need to be right, to impress, to defend an image. Words arise when needed. Silence is comfortable when words are not. Connection happens naturally because there is no wall of past grievances or future expectations between you and the other person. In work or tasks, you give full attention to what is in front of you. The mind may still whisper about outcomes or judgments, but you do not feed those whispers. You stay with the doing, the movement of hands, the flow of ideas, the next small step. The work becomes lighter, often more effective, because it is not weighed down by secondary mental noise. Even in moments of challenge, illness, loss, uncertainty, presence remains available. The mind may scream that this is unbearable, that something must change immediately. Yet underneath the scream is the quiet knowing. This too is now. This too is allowed. You feel the pain or fear fully. Breathe with it. Surrender to its presence without adding the second pain of mental resistance. In that allowing, strength arises, not the brittle strength of forcing yourself through, but the deep resilience of being rooted in what never changes. Living as presence does not make life problem-free. Problems still appear. Bodies age. Relationships shift. Plans fail. What changes is the relationship to problems. They no longer define your inner state. They are waves on the surface of the ocean. You are the ocean itself. Over time, this way of being becomes less an effort and more a remembering. You do not have to stay present every second. You simply notice when you are not, and the noticing brings you back. Each noticing strengthens the habit until presence feels more familiar than distraction. There may come moments, sometimes brief, sometimes longer, when the sense of separation dissolves completely. The boundary between inside and outside softens. There is no longer a me looking at the world. There is only seeing, hearing, feeling, being, one seamless field of aliveness. These moments are not the goal. They are glimpses of what is always true beneath the illusion of separation. You do not need to hold on to them or recreate them. Trying to do so pulls you back into the mind. Simply continue returning to now. The deeper truth reveals itself in its own timing. To live as presence is ultimately very simple. It requires no special conditions, no perfect life, no years of training. It requires only the willingness to be here, now, with whatever is showing up, without adding unnecessary layers of interpretation or resistance. Pause for a moment. Feel the simple fact that you are aware. Not aware of something in particular, just aware. That awareness is not personal. It does not belong to a name, a story, a body. It is the same awareness looking out through every eye, shining in every moment. It has no beginning and no end. This is who you are. Not the content that passes through awareness, the thoughts, feelings, experiences, but the awareness itself. Everything else changes. Awareness does not. When you rest as that, life becomes a dance rather than a struggle. Joy flows without needing a reason. Peace remains even when circumstances shift. Love expresses itself naturally, because there is no longer a separate self to protect. There is nothing more to achieve. Nothing to become. Only to remember, again and again, this moment is it. You are already home. The power of now is not something you finish or achieve. It is the ever-present space you already are. The silent awareness behind every thought, every feeling, every breath. Whenever the mind carries you away again, and it will, you don't need to fight it. Simply notice. One conscious breath. One feeling of your hands, your feet, the air on your skin. That noticing is homecoming. You are not your past. You are not your future plans. You are this living now, vast, peaceful, complete. Chapter 9. Beyond words, the silent knowing. Words have brought us this far. They have pointed, described, invited, reminded. Yet the deepest truth cannot be captured in language. It can only be lived. The power of now is not a philosophy to understand or a set of rules to follow. It is a direct recognition. You already are what you are seeking. The peace, the aliveness, the freedom you sense underneath everything is not something missing that needs to be added. It is what remains when everything unnecessary falls away. All the chapters before this one were like fingers pointing at the moon. The mind loves to study the finger, analyze its shape, debate its direction, compare it to other fingers. But the finger is not the moon. At some point, the pointing must stop so the gaze can rest on what is being pointed to. That resting is silence, not the absence of sound, but the absence of mental commentary. In that silence, there is no me trying to be present, no effort to stay aware, no achievement to reach. There is only this, being. Pure, unconditioned, complete in itself. You may have felt glimpses of this already. A sudden stillness while watching the sky. A moment when laughter bubbled up for no reason. The quiet after an argument ended, when nothing more needed to be said. The soft expansion in the chest during a walk with no destination. These are not special states reserved for mystics or monks. They are the natural condition when identification with thought dissolves, even briefly. The invitation now is to stop seeking these glimpses as experiences to collect. Seeking keeps you in the future. Instead, allow yourself to fall out of seeking altogether. Not by willpower, but by seeing that every search is a movement away from what is already here. Ask yourself, not as a mental question to answer, but as a gentle turning of attention. What is here when there is no problem to solve? What remains when no story is being told about me? What is aware right now, before the first thought arises? Rest in that question without hurrying to fill it with words. The answer is not a sentence. The answer is the silent field in which the question appears. Living from this silent knowing does not mean you stop thinking, feeling, acting, or relating. Thoughts still come when needed. Emotions still move through. The body still walks, eats, speaks, rests. But none of it is burdened by the extra weight of I must get this right. I am not enough yet. I need to become something more. Life continues, sometimes messy, sometimes beautiful, sometimes painful, sometimes joyful, but it is met without the background hum of inner conflict. There is space around every experience. That space is you. If the mind returns, and it will, with its familiar questions, am I doing this correctly? Is this really enlightenment? Why don't I feel blissful all the time? Meet those questions the same way you meet any other thought. See them. Feel the energy they carry in the body. Let them be there without following them into a new story. Each time you do this, the pull of thought weakens a little more. Eventually, the silence between thoughts grows longer. The gaps become the foreground, and the thoughts become occasional visitors. There is nothing to wait for. No final breakthrough. No permanent state to attain. Only the continuous, gentle returning to what never left. You are already that which is aware, unchanging, whole. The journey was never about becoming something else. It was always about remembering what you forgot you are. Take one last slow breath. Feel it enter. Feel it leave. Notice the stillness after the breath has gone. That stillness is not empty. It is full of itself, alive, awake, at peace. This is the end of words, and the beginning of everything else. Thank you for sharing this journey. Carry this gentle presence into your day. I'll meet you again, always here, always now.